Hello, my name is Jane Wiles, and I'm here with former head wrestling coach Josh Holden. How are you doing today, Coach?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great. So let's get it started here. With over 300 plus dual meet wins, 39 state qualifiers, 26 state medalists, one state champion, 5 times conference champs, 2 times Spartan Classic champions, and 3-time team state qualifiers. All of these accomplishments, which one was your favorite to get?
I don't know that the biggest accomplishments we've had over the last 20 plus years was really listed in that group of things. I think the biggest accomplishment for me was to see the growth of the culture of the program go from 9 kids in 2004 to grow to the 70 plus kids that we had in our program last season. The work ethic, the growth in pride in the program, all those little things that I think lead to those other things, the championships and the wins. To me, it's the people. It's the growth of the people and the development of kids over that time span that I was lucky enough to be the head coach here is really what, to me, were the wins.
So during the season and you've always taught this story or told the story about how before your son Zeke was born, you wrote a letter saying that you wanted to build a program that he would be proud of. Do you think that in your 20 years you've accomplished that goal?
I guess you'd have to ask him. No, I think knowing how my kids feel about our program and how you guys are their family, it really means a lot to know that there's so many people that have been a part of this program through the years who cared about my family, cared about me. It really was, the goal all along. And I would have written a letter to my daughter, but I didn't, back then I kind of felt like, she would want to go off and do some different things in her life. And thankfully she became part of the program too. And they look at you guys as an extension of their family. And that's really special. Not a lot of people can say that.
So earlier this year, you announced that you would be stepping down as a head wrestling coach to be the head football coach over at Eastern Hancock, not too far away. How long had you been thinking about that decision? So, did it start when you first offered the job, or was it something that you always wanted to do, be a head football coach?
So, I've never held it a secret that football is my first love. I am a firm believer that God sends you in a direction in your life, and I do my best to follow those signs. And I think being 5'8" and very slow, God was telling me I'm a wrestler. I'm not a football player. So wrestling kind of was an avenue in my life to be, get to do the things I wanted to do, which was, coach and teach, and have an impact on the lives of the youth, and especially in Hancock County. So I've wanted to be a head football coach a long time, really since I was, just a kid being coached by my dad. Fast forward through the years, I had actually applied at Eastern Hancock a couple times to be their head football coach. Similarly, I had applied to be the head football coach at Greenfield Central High School several times. So it was something I wanted to do. I love Hancock County. I love Greenfield. I know that most head football coaches start out a smaller school, so maybe starting at a 4A school wasn't really in the cards. Never having been a head football coach, so I went the route that I think most people do, applied at a small school, Eastern Hancock, was lucky enough to get that job. Obviously once it becomes real, you get offered the job and you start looking at the details, you got to make a tough decision. And I will say, I don't think I've ever made a tougher decision than to walk away from this program and the people that are involved with this program. Thankfully, I'm not going too far away. I still live in Greenfield. This will forever be my family. The way I look at it now is my family's gotten bigger. I get a lot more kids in Hancock County now over on the east side, and I still get to love you guys, and it's a pretty special thing.
So going to Eastern, do you think you'll ever coach wrestling again, maybe as an assistant, or do you think this is your final year coaching?
So I am officially the head girls wrestling coach at Eastern Hancock High School. Looking into kind of growing that staff a little bit with some people that have been a big part of my life here. That's an announcement maybe to be made later. We'll see. Maybe I can get another interview before the school's out and make an announcement. Going to help Mr. Coach Poff over there, who coached for our junior high for a couple of years, and now is the head boys coach there, and just help him grow that program and kind of see where that takes us.
So, with over 300 wins in 20 years, I mean, you're the winningest head coach at Greenfield Central. 300 wins over 20 years, that's roughly 15 to 20 wins a year. How did you do that? What was kind of the key to success with not including down years, but when you first got here, not a full roster?
Okay. Good wrestlers. Let's be very clear. Coaches don't win dual meets. Coaches don't win state titles. Good wrestlers win dual meets, and good wrestlers win state titles. And we had a lot of those come through here. I think the big part was just growing the culture, making people want to be a part of the program, right? People like yourself who come in and, you have a choice to make. This ain't easy. It ain't fun coming in here every day in a, sweaty, hot wrestling room. You haven't eaten all day, and you're maybe not winning a lot of matches at first when you first start at the high school level. And, what makes people want to stay? There's got to be something else, right? And I think that's the culture. And, people staying and growing and helping others grow alongside them is what kind of built those 300 plus wins over that time. And you're right, when we got here, there were 9 kids, so that's not a full lineup, and we lost a lot of duels, and it wasn't a lot of fun. But it grew quickly because we had good people. Coach Early, who's still part of the program, he's going to stay on with the new staff. He was a freshman when I got here. And he was a big part in growing that culture as a wrestler for 4 years. And then when he came back as a coach, helping continue to grow that. And then you look at, who stayed, right? Coach Thompson was a 4-year wrestler here and now a coach. Coach Gorell was a 4-year wrestler, right? Coach Allen wrestled here. Coach Stanley wrestled here. So a lot of people are still going to be around the program. I was just lucky enough to have a lot of them as wrestlers and then continue to grow the program. But again, it's not really about the wins. It's about the people that have been a part of the program over the years that I know that's what kept me going.
So when you first got here, there were undoubtedly a lot of critics, whether that was parents, community, teachers. What was kind of your key to getting past those critics and kind of proving them wrong?
Well, they're still critics. It's the more things I do in life, the more I realize that it's harder and harder to distinguish the rights and the wrongs because there's always someone there to tell you that what you're doing is wrong. And you've really got to search your heart and know who you are as a man to figure out what's right and wrong to you. There's always going to be someone somewhere telling you that what you're getting ready to do, the decision you're making is wrong. And that still happens. And last year it happened as a head coach here in this program. I had a lot of people tell me decisions I made were wrong. As long as I can back them up and I know that in my heart that what I'm doing is the best I know, I can live with that. In the beginning, it was harder because I was young. And when people say hurtful things to you and criticize what you're trying to do, it can break your heart. And you got to grow in that and figure out how to not let that affect your decision making and help you grow. Sometimes you're wrong, right? And I've had parents come to me and criticize me and I was wrong. And you got to be able to admit when you're wrong and grow and then justify when you think you're right. So it's tough, but that's going to happen for all of us. And no matter what career you choose, your entire life, it's going to be, people criticizing what you do. Just if you know you have a good heart and you're making decisions based on what you believe, then you can justify it.
So something else that you always did as a coach that I noticed, I'm sure everyone else knows, so you kind of taught lessons through the sport. So what were some of those lessons that you always try to teach, and why was it important to you to teach those lessons to the young men and women that came through the wrestling program?
Well, we started, long ago. We probably weren't going to win a lot, and, you have to have other avenues to make this worthwhile, and that is the lessons that you learn. I learned that through my coaches. Coaches have these little sayings that you probably never forget. And one of my football coaches would always say, if you don't want to slip, stay out of slippery places. And it just stuck with me. And that lesson, kind of started me on a path of this is the kind of coach I want to be. I want to teach those lessons that kids, when they're 40, 50, 60 years old, are going, I remember Coach Holden saying that, and that was a great lesson. I don't know that I necessarily chose lessons to teach that I thought were important. I think those lessons came to me, right? A lot's changed over 20 years, right? The issues we deal with in schools with high school students are different than they were 20 years ago. So those lessons kind of come to you as a coach. And I think you just try to be the person that kids need, right? If you have a wrestler who has an issue, you try to be that person for them, whether, that's a nurse sometimes, a parent sometimes, a psychologist sometimes. whatever it is that they need, that's who you try to be. And I think those lessons just kind of develop organically. The one that I think, or at least the last lesson I would want my kids to remember is just that we loved them. And even though I might be hard on you sometimes, and I might not be a fun person to be around sometimes, everything we do is because we love you. And if we didn't, you would know. So it's the big lesson for us is just that, we've loved every one of you that's come through here, tried to help you grow as a person. And if you ever need anything, every coach that's been a part of this program is here for you for life. You're not a sometimes Greenfield Central wrestler. You're an always Greenfield Central wrestler. And even though I'm the former head coach, someone else is taking over that role. I'm forever a Greenfield Central High School wrestling coach, and I will always be here for my guys and gals.
So kind of going back to your success here, I know in the past interview you said you have kind of that mentality of next man up. Mm-hmm. So when you first got here, how important was that to help you be successful, the next man up mentality?
And we almost didn't have a next man up. Sometimes it was, somebody went down, there was nobody else to put in there. It's really developed though over time. I think one of the things that's hard in today's sports world is it's such an instant gratification world. Waiting your turn is tough, right? Everybody wants to start as a freshman and, oh, I'm a junior, I should be the guy, and, those kind of things. But if you're patient, a lot of times those opportunities roll around. And, I think I used Dylan Luther at our awards banquet as a huge example of that. He was in a tough weight class this year on our team, and he was patient and he worked hard every day, and his time came at the end of the year of his senior year. So, it really is the next man up mentality, as you put it, is really I love the program mentality. I'm here for the program. I'll do whatever it is the program needs me to do. My role may not be a state champ. My role may not be a varsity wrestler. My role might just be to come in here and work hard every day, and be a great teammate. So, thankfully we had a lot of those people in this room, and, when we needed people, they stood up for us.
So in my time here at Millimeter 2 years, I noticed that you've kind of seemed to care more about is turning young men and women into great people. Mm-hmm. Are you going to carry that same coaching style and mentality with you to Eastern?
Sure. We've already discussed it over there. We're 10 practices into spring football, and it's already been discussed at length that we don't talk about wins. I'm not going to talk about winning our first game. That doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is, are we doing all the things that we're supposed to do to grow as individuals, right? Are we doing the things daily that's going to make us great husbands, wives? Are we doing the things that's going to make us a great employer, and great employee? Those are the things that I think in the end you win anyway when you do those things. And if you're not winning and you're doing all of those things right, you probably just weren't the best person, right? You weren't the best team. So, that's okay. I can take a loss if they were better than me, right? So, we're already focusing on those things, trying to be the best people we can be. And there's a lot of good people over at Eastern. It's a lot like Greenfield Central High School. It's like a big brother, little brother type thing, I think. And it's awesome. It's awesome to see. And I've really enjoyed being around those kids. So hopefully they buy into the message we send, and and hopefully there's some wins in our future too.
So as we wrap up your final interview here, what has Greenfield Central, not only the school, but the community meant to you? From the athletes to parents to teachers, what has all of it meant to you in the past 20 years?
Love. It's, you have your family, and I have a great family. I've been very blessed. Greenfield Central is an extension of that. You are an extension of that family. I've spent more time with other people's kids over the years than I have with my own. But just like in this phase of my life, my son's, moved out and gone to college, and my daughter's getting ready to do that. And, I feel like this is just another version of that. I'm going down the street, but you guys are still here, and, we'll always be family. And, the support that I've received, it's just meant a lot, because I know that people didn't have to support me. People didn't have to trust me. They didn't have to trust me with their kids. And that people would do that for so long has meant a lot. And, I just hope that people know that I love them, and that me walking away and going to take a new pursuit doesn't doesn't change how I feel about you guys. And, and I hope that I'll always be a part of this program, and that if anybody ever needs me, I'm around, and I would hope that they would reach out and stay in touch.
So I want to thank Coach Holden for doing this interview, but not only for the interview, but for everything he's done for Greenfield Central and the community in the past 20 years. I'm Jane Wiles. Thank you for watching.